Awesome. We're live on the site, so that's good. Awesome. We're live on the site, so that's good. What's going on, Tiger fans? I'm Zach Lindsay. He's Brad Sanif. He's Jason Priester. Guys, last week you're off, but here's the reason why. I mean, I had surgery on my wrist, but this week I'm back like Deshaun Watson in 2015. I'm back like Tiger Woods at Torrey Pines. Back like Roger Clemson at Blaze Sock. I'm back this week, so let's get to it. The ACC has an incredible 6 teams ranked in the top 25 this week. So here's what I want to know from you. What are your biggest surprises in the ACC so far? Brad.
Yeah, there's so much about this league right now that I don't quite understand or don't really care to understand in some ways. But NC State sitting there at 4-1, guys. This is still Dave Doran, right? Like he's still.
Are you serious? Is he still there? The computer guy? I mean, he's still there. He's not out hacking laptops somewhere or pissing him on about laptops.
Hey, he was ahead of his time. You know, you can't have communication on the sideline if you have COVID. You can't be a part of the team. He was just ahead of his time when he was trying to get Clemson to quit bringing laptops onto the field, Zach. You know that. He's an innovator. That's what Dave Doran is. But in all seriousness, he's got the Wolfpack actually not only competitive, but winning football games. And I have to say, I didn't expect it. I didn't see this coming. Congratulations to Dave Doran at this point. Now, they have probably the easiest schedule in the ACC. This team's going to win a lot of football games. At the end of the year, we're all going to be going, God, how did NC State win 7-8 football games this year? It's crazy.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. My biggest surprise this season so far has been Notre Dame. I mean, we came into the season going, man, they're going to be the ones that challenge Clemson. They're going to be the biggest threat to the Tigers this season. You know what? Notre Dame is going to lose 3 games this season. I'm calling it right now. I'm calling my shot right now. 7:01 p.m. Wednesday, October 21st. They're going to lose this week to Pitt. They're going to lose to Clemson. And then they're going to lose at North Carolina. That's right. Yeah, I saw you look on your face, Brad. Notre Dame stinks. I mean, come on. They beat Louisville by 5 points. 5 points. That's all. 12-7. You can only score 12 points a game.
Hold on. Notre Dame isn't great, but nobody they're playing is any good. So I don't understand why you think they're going to lose to all these teams. Pitt is horrible right now. North Carolina's lost to Florida State, and you think they're going to beat Notre Dame? Come on.
Yeah. The Fighting Irish are going to go down in flames. And look, right now the line on the Clemson game is up to 15.5 points. I say take it right now if you're a Tiger fan. Take the points. Go ahead. Go ahead. Lay the points and get all you can because the Tigers will beat this team worse than 30-3. They better hope they're not playing. They'd be glad they're not playing this week because it would be worse than it was 2 years ago in the Cotton Bowl, I think. I mean, look, Notre Dame's not a good football team right now. They can't score on offense. Their defense is average at best. Special teams, I mean, that may be the only thing they have going for them, but they're not a good football team. Jason, tell me I'm wrong.
I don't think they're really good. They were not very good against Louisville the other day.
25-mile-per-hour winds. They couldn't throw the football.
Oh, please, come on. Ian Book couldn't throw his way out of a wet paper bag right now. He's a terrible quarterback. Terrible.
He's not any good.
He's awful.
The quarterbacks they're going against are terrible. They're going to beat all of those teams except Clemson.
He is awful. He can't throw his way out of a wet paper bag. Jason, what's your biggest surprise?
They seemed to move the ball all right the other day, but they just kept stalling out in the red zone. But my biggest surprise is I agree with Brad. North Carolina State, after that early loss, they're 4-1 now. I did not see that coming at all, schedule or not. We'll see if they can keep it up after losing Leary. I mean, it's going to be hard to keep. Without that starting quarterback, it's going to be hard to keep that pace up. But they played much better through the first 5 games than I would have ever imagined.
Yeah, well, you two keep on your NC State love streak. I'm going to keep bashing Notre Dame because they're awful. They stink. They're going to finish with 3 losses in the ACC. They're going to crawling back to the independent next year, just begging to be back in the independent. because they can't hack. They can't hack in the ACC. They can't hack.
Good.
They
You
can't
act like it's good.
They can't hack the ACC.
You like
they can't.
beat North Carolina doesn't matter. You act like these teams are playing are good.
Listen,
None
they
of them
can't.
are good.
They can't handle the brutal ACC schedule. Come on.
I told you weeks ago North Carolina was overrated. Tried to warn you 2 or 3 weeks ago. I sat here on this exact show and told you this team is vastly overrated. You didn't want to listen then. You're not going to listen to me now. Notre Dame's not going to lose to those garbage teams.
Exactly. Yeah, you keep saying that, but I seem to remember someone finally coming around Miami Hurricanes 2 weeks ago in power rankings. But you know what? We'll see. We'll see who's right. But I know I'm right because Notre Dame stinks. They're awful. All right, stock up, stock down time. For the Tigers this week, coming off a blowout win, 73-7. Did anyone see that coming? I didn't. You didn't. But stock up, stock down this week. So give me your stock up, stock down for the Tigers this week, guys. Coming off a 73-7 impressive performance against the Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets. Brad.
Stock up to Clemson's defense when it comes to forcing turnovers. They've intercepted 6 passes in the last 3 games. They've got 9 takeaways on the season. I got a story going up tomorrow morning on allclemson.com you want to check out. Here's a crazy stat for you. Guess who leads the nation in both turnover margin and takeaways? The Syracuse Orange. Yeah, that horrible team that is the worst in the conference is actually the best in the country when it comes to takeaways. Clemson, meanwhile, 9th in the country or 12th in the country with their 9. Clemson makes the most out of it. Listen to this. They've outscored their opponents 41-7 with points off of turnovers. That is unbelievable. Syracuse has 98 points all season. Clemson has 41 just off of turnovers. So this defense is not only forcing them, but Clemson's capitalizing on them. You saw that in the Georgia Tech game. Very impressive what Britt Venables Jr. is doing right now.
Absolutely. Stock down for you.
Oh, boy. Travis Etienne's Heisman candidacy. Look, it was not a good week for him against Georgia Tech, and I'm not overly surprised because Georgia Tech finally said, we're not going to let you get 200 yards rushing on us, and good for them for doing that. But it's not just that Etienne had an off game and he had a fumble. It's also the fact that there's other people that have made a move. Mac Jones is now the number 2 behind Trevor Lawrence. Justin Fields takes the field this week for the first time. No pun intended there.
Who?
Justin Fields, you know him, Ohio State quarterback. Have you seen him play? Pretty good. Slings it around, runs the ball. Then you've got Zach Wilson at BYU. You've got all those offensive weapons at Alabama. They're all moving ahead of Travis Etienne, not just because he wasn't great, but because they're getting better and putting up big numbers. I think Etienne's stock took a big hit this week.
Absolutely. I agree with you 100%. Jason, stock up, stock down for the Tigers this week.
My stock up is Davis Allen. His 3 catches the other day, touchdown, 67 yards. I think he's got 7 catches on the season now, and he's averaging over 20 yards a catch. It's going to be hard to keep him off the field. He's making a big impact on this offense, especially in the passing game, and he's a good blocker too, man. As we saw in the Miami game, he'll get in there and mix it up with those guys on the defense. It's going to be hard to keep him off the field. My stock down, Frank Ladson, another bad drop. He's got to get better at those, especially he's dropping the easy balls, the ones he should catch. With Ngata hurt, this was his time to separate himself and be that guy on the outside, and he's just not grabbed that job with both hands the way I thought he would.
Absolutely. Stock up for me is Trevor Lawrence's deep ball. I mean, last season he was overthrowing guys, underthrowing guys. He couldn't find the right pass on the deep ball, but this year he seems to really have worked on that on the offseason. And look, he missed one to Mario over the middle, but – 73-yard he hit him on was a thing of beauty. I mean, he's been money on those all season long. I think that's a big reason why his Heisman candidacy is through the roof right now. He's going to win the Heisman. He's going to be the first Tiger to win the Heisman Trophy. But, I mean, his deep ball touch is so much more improved than it was last year. Even freshman year, his deep ball was better than it was last year. This year, though, is at another level. It's at an NFL caliber level. So my stock up is Trevor Lawrence's deep ball. My stock down is to Will Spires. I mean, come on, man. You get in the game as a quarterback and you can't throw a touchdown pass. Everybody was throwing touchdown passes in this game. Hell, I mean, Hunter Helms had 2 touchdown passes. and you can't throw a touchdown pass.
His
Come
leg
on.
was sore.
Come
He was
on.
booting 50-yarders
Yeah, he
every
was.
single time. He was wore out, Zach. Give him
Yeah.
a break. Come on.
Exactly.
He
Yeah,
still
but-
has an incredible completion percentage though.
Yes, he does. Yes, he does. But I mean, if Clemson's going to advance any further in the playoffs this year, then
They need more out of Will Spires at quarterback. Come on.
That's exactly right. I mean, he can't just be a screen guy. He's got to get off his first read and go second, third read because teams are going to scout him. They're going to see that. And they're not going to let him throw that little screen pass stuff. He's going to have to be a threat down the field if he wants to be a quarterback in this league. And the Tigers will need him, obviously. But obviously there weren't a whole lot of slide downs this week because the Tigers, whenever you beat somebody by 60 or 70 points, there's not a whole lot you can say bad about them. But the thing is, so we just talked about the offense for a little bit. I want to know from you, can this offense be stopped this season? Are we seeing the best offense that Dabo Swinney's ever had? And is this offense untouchable this season? Jason, let's start with you.
I'm not going to go as far as saying it can't be shut down or stopped, but I don't think you can completely shut it down. There's just too many playmakers on that side of the ball. Got Travis Etienne and Trevor Lawrence in the same backfield. That's a lethal combination. And opposing teams are just going to have to pick their poison. You know, do you stop the run? You come up and stop the run and give Trevor Lawrence the middle of the field open to carve you up, or do you sit back in coverage and give Travis Etienne room to run? I mean, like I said, you just got to pick your poison with this team. I don't know if this is the best offense they've ever had, but it's going to be one of the best.
Absolutely. Brad, your thoughts?
Yeah, I don't think anybody that I've seen who's on the schedule left can stop them. And Notre Dame's that had the speed to contain Clemson, I don't think. And Virginia Tech maybe can cause some issues, but we don't really know what Virginia Tech is until they get all their players on the field for multiple weeks. But all in all, no one's going to stop this offense. Are they even going to have a bad day? That's the question to me. Do they even have that one off game like North Carolina last year where they scored 21 points? Do they simply just have one bad game? Not can they be stopped? If it's the best offense of all time, I'm not ready to go there because Jason wrote a story this week from about Greg McElroy from ESPN talking about how Trevor Lawrence doesn't have the weapons that Clemson's had in the past, especially on the outside. Amari Rodgers is great, but he's not an outside threat necessarily, and it doesn't matter. They're still scoring 48.4 points per game because Lawrence is unflappable right now. And the level that he's playing at and the way that Travis Etienne can take over a game, there's no way this team doesn't score at least in the low to mid 40s and maybe breaks the school record this year for points per game.
Yeah, I mean, for me, when I think about best of all time, that's a difficult thing when you look at offenses because there's been so many changes and so many people that have come and gone from this offense stuff over the years. And really, I mean, Trevor Lawrence is playing at a level I don't think any of us ever thought we'd see at Clemson. I mean, Deshaun Watson, he was great when he was here. Obviously, we talked about this a couple weeks ago, saying he wasn't the best. He was the best of all time in y'all's opinion. But Trevor Lawrence right now is playing at a level right now I never thought I'd witness in person. But I think you're right. To say this offense won't be stopped, I think may not be the right question. I think the question should be, will it be slowed down? Or will it have that hiccup game? Will it have that game where you go, what the heck's going on? I mean, why can't they do anything? Well, who's the guy that's going to drop balls? When's Trevor Lawrence going to have that off game? I mean,
to me, if that happens, it's later in the season. It's Pitt or Virginia Tech, where they're just sort of not mailing it in, but they know they've got more to play for, and maybe they're just one day they don't show up. Maybe it's cold, bad weather, December game up in Blacksburg, maybe something like that. But for the next several weeks, there's just no chance that they're not going to score a ton of points on everybody in front of them.
Exactly. I mean, it kind of makes us think back to the Notre Dame game. I want to circle back to Notre Dame. I mean, at the beginning of the season, we were thinking this is a team that's going to challenge Tigers. This is a team that's going to be the biggest threat to the Tigers. I mean, do you still see that this way, or who would be able to challenge the Tigers this season if it's not Notre Dame?
Well, I didn't think it was Notre Dame to begin with. I didn't think it was anybody. I was projecting this to be a double-digit spread, and then back during the summer there was a line, or during COVID, they had nothing to do. Yeah. Well, no, it was there was a line that was 10 at one time, and I talked to Professional Gamble then who was saying you better grab that now because it's only going to go up. Like even when it was 10, he said, you better get it now, because by the time that game rolls around, it's going to be a 2-touchdown game or more. Here it is, 15.5 right now. I don't think Notre Dame could stop Clemson. I mean, there's just nobody in this league. Again, maybe Virginia Tech catches lightning at a bottle at the end of the season. Outside of that, I just don't see a team that's going to challenge the Tigers.
Absolutely. Jason, your thoughts. Is there a team in the ACC that can maybe even hang with the Tigers? I mean, or make it interesting? Or is this a blowout, cakewalk to the playoff semifinals?
No, I agree with Brad. I think the only way anybody in the ACC gives Clemson a game this year is if Clemson doesn't show up and bring their A game one week. And it would have to be against a Notre Dame or Virginia Tech. I don't see anybody else on the schedule that can even hang with them if they don't bring their A game. Notre Dame just doesn't have the offense to keep up. They're not going to shut this offense. Notre Dame's not going to shut the Clemson offense down, and they surely can't outscore them. So I just don't see it. I think it's a pretty easy path to the playoff this year.
Yeah, me too. I mean, I think this is a team that right now is more focused than last year's team. I think last year's team, while it was focused and played very good football, I think there was a little bit of immaturity and a little bit of something that can only be brought to your team by losing a game. I think that happened in the national championship game. I think this is a team that has a chip on its shoulder. I think they want to prove they're the best team out there. And look, right now they are. They're clearly the best team, not only in the ACC, but in the nation. I mean, Alabama, look, their defense is a joke right now. The SEC as a whole is a joke defensively. Who would have thought we'd ever say that? But I really don't see any team that can touch the Tigers in the ACC or in the nation right now. I think if the game was played against Alabama this week, Clemson would be favored. Brad, can you shed some light on that? Have you seen any lines about future projections about Clemson, Alabama?
No, I hadn't seen any of those. Usually those kind of come out here and there. I think right now everybody's waiting to see what Ohio State looks like before they put out one of those kind of crazy lines, those get ahead lines. But let's see what Ohio State looks like. We're not going to anything about Nebraska. We don't know anything.
That's right, man. You and your Ohio State love and Justin Fields love. You're on their payroll. I mean, do you have something to go on? I'm
the last person who says nice things about Ohio State, but they have elite talent on their team, and let's see what they look like over the course of the next 3 or 4 weeks.
Yeah, I think Dan Hope's been slipping you a few bucks here and there. But all right, so circling to this week's game, the Tigers are record-breaking 47-point favorites right now over the Orange. What's wrong with the Orange, guys? I mean, Dino Babers was supposed to be the best thing that ever happened up there. He was supposed to be the resurrection of the good times in Syracuse. This is a Syracuse team that's awful. They're terrible right now. They can't score with anybody. They can't defend anybody. Look, when you lose to Liberty, you lose all respect from me and everybody else in the league. What's wrong with the Orange, guys? Jason, start with you.
Well, they had all those opt-outs before the season. Now they're dealing with a bunch of injuries. I think I read they got less than 60 scholarship players available for this game. One of those injuries is their starting quarterback. That's a lot to overcome, man. It's hard to win games when you dealing with that kind of stuff. But
absolutely. Brad, what's your thoughts on Orange? What's wrong with them?
They can't score. They're just so bad offensively. They're in fact, right now they are 68th in the country out of 77 teams in scoring. They're 74th in rushing. Jason mentioned all those opt-outs. Those are a lot of running backs they lost, but 74th out of 77 teams running the football, 63rd in passing. Their two quarterbacks, Culpepper and DeVito, are combined averaging 5.9 yards per pass attempt. That is an absolute joke. You can't move the football doing that at all. So that's what's so strange. It's a Dino Babers offense, right?
Exactly. I mean, Orange is a new fast. Come on.
This is Art Briles style offense at its worst. I mean, this is just not being run in any manner that Dino can be happy with. And I feel bad for him, but he clearly can't get players who, A, want to come there, and B, want to play when they're there. That's a problem.
Exactly. I mean, come on. Would you want to go to Syracuse if you had a choice? I mean, go up there and freeze your butt off every day? I wouldn't want to do that. I mean, come on. The Carrier Dome's freezing cold anyway. But the thing is for me, when you look at this place, you have to understand Dino Babers came in with this gimmicky offense, I think. Everybody can kind of admit that. It's a gimmicky offense that, much like Paul Johnson at Georgia Tech, where he came in there and ran a gimmicky offense and was successful for a couple of years. And then people got wise to it. People started to understand how to defend it, what you need to do. The problem with the Orange right now is when you go fast, you get off the field fast when you suck, and they suck right now. So basically, they're going fast 3 and out and giving the team the ball back. So you can't do that.
I don't know if it's as much they figured out as much as the downgrade in quarterbacks that he's undergone here. I mean, Tommy DeVito is atrocious, and they have a terrible offensive line. He was getting sacked at a sack rate higher than anybody else in the country for the last 2 years. If you can't block and you can't throw, you're not winning football games, period. Like, I don't care what the scheme is. I don't care how many Browses you've mentored under or whatever or learned under. You're just simply not going to be any good. And Eric Dungy was the perfect quarterback, Zach. I mean, he absolutely ran this offense the best that Dino could have ever imagined. He'll never get better than that.
Yes, he was. I mean, you both got to witness him firsthand in that offense. I mean, he was a special guy. He could run around, he could scramble, he could buy time.
He's a baller.
Yeah, he was a greedy guy. I mean, he reminded me a lot of a
he reminded me of Connor Shaw from South Carolina.
Yeah. There you go.
He just made plays. You didn't care about how fast or how slow or how big or how short. You didn't care. He just went and made plays.
Exactly. Yeah, Connor Shaw is a great comparison for him. So as we look ahead to this week's game, guys, it's time for preview and prediction time. Give me your thoughts on this game and your prediction. I mean, obviously, can we see 70 points scored again this week, Brad?
I don't know. I mean, that's so hard to do. I mean, Clemson could do it against everybody that's, in this tier of playing college football for the most part. But I feel like Dabo, I think he wanted to send a message at Georgia Tech last week. I think he told Hunter Helms, go in there and throw the ball. Let's go score. That kind of thing. You mean
he didn't like the guys bringing their weights on the sideline and stuff last year?
No, he was not a fan of that at all. He was not a fan. So, plus he wanted to make some history there. There was a lot of things at play for Dabo in that game. He doesn't want to embarrass his buddy Dino. He likes Dino. I think Dabo throttles back a little bit this week.
So score 62 this week?
I don't think they're going to be throwing bombs up, 50-plus points this week. I don't think. Now, my hope is that you get to see DJ Uyunglele on the field running the offense. And I don't mean handing the ball off to Darian Rencher. I mean throwing the ball, running the offense, running it himself, doing some different things if he's healthy enough to do so. That's my only hope for this game is that you get to see him.
Absolutely. What's your prediction for the game?
Oh, man, I so want to say they can cover, but I would never in a million years lay this many points ever. I don't care who's playing. I'm not touching 47 or 46 or whatever it is. I'll go something like 52-3. That'll cover, but it's not by much. You have to sweat it out. Don't do it. Don't do it, Tiger Nation.
I hear you. For me, I think about this team right now. I think about you're facing two extremes in this game. You have the Tigers who are clicking on all cylinders, offensively and defensively, going up against the Orange who are awful on both sides of the ball. So for me, the key is for this game, I want to see the Tigers come out and execute. I want to see them come out with the same sharpness and same intensity that they had at Georgia Tech, come out with that chip on their shoulder, get this game over with in the first half, and let's see DJ play. Let's see these young guys get out there and run the offense. Like you said, I want to see DJ get out there and run the offense. I want to see him hand the ball, see him throwing the ball, I want to see him having to make reads, having to make plays against the defense. And I want to see Frank Ladson. I want to see him get over those drops. I mean, you have to take your shots down the field. He's going to be the guy right now the Tigers are focused on. So you have to give those guys the shots. You have to give them the opportunity to play because you're going to need them in these games. I mean, Will Spires is going to be there bailing them out all season long. So. But for me, I'm like you. To lay 47 points is a big deal. So I wouldn't dare touch it with a 10-foot pole. But I think 55-10. I think the Tigers don't necessarily cover. But the fact is, I mean, they could probably score 100 points on this team if they wanted to. I think Dino Babers and Dabo Sweeney are such good friends that he's not going to embarrass them, like you said. But it's a big deal this week. I think the Tigers can make a statement this week. Once again, they're the best team in the nation. Jason, your thoughts and preview.
I'm like you. I want to see them come out fast, take control of the game early, get the backups in pretty quick. But if I was a betting man, I would never lay those points either. It's just way too many. But this is a severely undermanned Syracuse team that is just terrible on offense. They can't score. I rarely predict a shutout, but I think Clemson gets another shutout this week. I don't think Syracuse is going to score. I got it 45-0.
Absolutely. That's not a bad pick right there. I mean, to shut out a team right there, like you said. I mean, I'm not wanting to pick a shot, but the thing is, I mean, this Syracuse offense is awful. Clemson defense playing at a high level. So we'll see how it goes. The Tigers and the Orange face off at noon on Saturday on ACC Network. Guys, for Jason, for Brad, I'm Zach Lentz. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. Pray for birdies. And look, stay safe out there. All right? Be safe, guys.